Yo, we're going to jump in, cover some quick topics on the week. Very fresh news. A couple of the things we're going to talk about with USDT, allegedly falsifying documents, as well as just an overall market view on the crypto market currently. On top of that, we're also going to touch on some news through a bankruptcy judge that was ordered through. We'll get into it, but very interesting situation. So just diving right into this video here.
A lot of allegations flying around. You wonder if this is going in sort of an FTX direction or if, as the company says, really nothing to see here. Explain what's happening and why we should care, really.
So the two companies behind Tether, which is the world's most popular and widely traded US dollar pegged stablecoin, are accused of essentially falsifying documents and using shell companies to get bank accounts. So we're talking about two companies. There's Tether, which is the parent company to the stablecoin of the same name, and then its sister company that runs Bitfinex, which is one of the world's biggest crypto exchanges. Now, in 2018, both companies were having issues maintaining their access to the banking system, and to get around this, the Wall Street Journal found that both companies started using these shadowy intermediaries. So think of like third parties, such as other businesses or individuals, to open and maintain bank accounts. The report went on to say that they circumvented the banking system by providing fake sales invoices and contracts for deposits and withdrawals. That Wall Street Journal report, Eamon, also specifically references an email in which the co-owner of Tether Holdings pushed back against the use of these fake sales invoices, saying that he would not want to, quote, argue any of the above in a potential fraud and money laundering case.
All right. So yeah, very, very, very interesting news coming from USDT Tether. I think a lot of us have probably heard of some of the shenanigans that happened with Tether in the past. So hopefully this is not leading into anything that happened in the past, but it doesn't look good. I think this probably is at least a little bit of FUD. So just beware on what you're looking into as far as crypto news, but definitely something to note and something to watch out for regarding USDT. I do personally think that if Tether crashes, if they fold and ends up being anything even close to the whole FTX situation, then it's not looking good for crypto as a whole. But anyways, diving into the market, here is coinmarketcap.com. Obviously, we've got Bitcoin number one on the overall charts. That's going to pretty much always be the case, guys. You know that. But top 10 is looking pretty good in terms of just kind of staying stagnant across the board. There's really not a whole lot of losses, I would say, as far as the last 24 hours in terms of prices. But overall, yeah, there was a pretty big sell-off earlier in the week, a couple days ago with the whole Silvergate situation and them parting ways with Coinbase or vice versa, Coinbase parting ways with them. So we'll dive into a little bit of information, some news on that in terms of obviously what we know so far with Silvergate, as well as some new information regarding them in BlockFi. So anyways, overall on the market, everything's looking pretty much left to right. Do want to keep an eye out for any whales continuing to sell off like we saw the other day with 140 Bitcoin being sold off, close to $200 million sold off in about a 25-minute span. So anyways, and if you guys want to see off to the side any different coins on the watch list, I'll be doing these streams, not streams, but videos from time to time, just kind of going over the week's news. So if you want to see anything on the watch list, just let me know. But anyways, diving into our next segment here, we've got Coinbase with some bullish news. Like I just said, Coinbase had just kind of parted ways with Silvergate Crypto Bank, right? Their lender. And that brought on a lot of sell-offs in the market, but this in itself is pretty bullish in my opinion. Coinbase acquires One River Digital Asset Management Company. And I think that's great news for crypto as a whole. As much as I don't personally use Coinbase, I do think that coming out of that negative news earlier in the week with Silvergate, followed by this positive bullish news, I think that's a pretty good thing for crypto. And I think a lot of whales probably know that as well. But anyways, yep. So the acquisition of this company is hopefully going to help with their asset management side of the business. So it says here, quote unquote, by Greg Tussar, Coinbase's head of institutional product. He told Bloomberg that this is about wanting to bring more institutional capital into the world of crypto, right? I do think that institutions are yes, selling off, but as they see the market kind of consolidate as it has been, they're probably going to be getting back in. Not financial advice, just my own opinion, and kind of what I see from the overall broader spectrum of the market. So very interesting information, but anyways, jumping into the bankruptcy situation I had discussed earlier, looks like here that bankruptcy judge in the BlockFi case had ordered Silvergate Bank to release just shy of $10 million, right? So that's going to be ordered over to BlockFi. If you know anything about BlockFi's situation with the whole staking issue that had happened last year, this is some positive news for BlockFi's creditors and anybody that may have been owed money, right? So we'll see kind of what's to come of this, but I do want to touch on something that's kind of interesting, right? So Binance, they worked with a company called Paxos Trust, right? So essentially, why I want to touch on this is Paxos, Binance kind of went back and forth on whose idea it was to come up with the BUSD Binance stablecoin, right? So Paxos was essentially saying that they had no involvement in it, other than the fact that they were the ones that were issuing it, right? So they definitely had involvement, in my opinion. But Binance CZ was saying how Paxos were the ones that kind of adopted it from the beginning, and it was their whole project. And so he was trying to distance himself from Paxos. But why I bring that up is it says here major players in the crypto industry, such as Coinbase, Galaxy Holdings, Digital Holdings, excuse me, and Paxos Trust have moved away from Silvergate Bank, right? So it's not just Coinbase that's separating from them. I wonder how this is involved with Binance. And obviously, with Binance having the situation with Paxos that I just discussed, and Paxos now distancing themselves from Silvergate, all speculation and opinion here, but I can't help but think that Paxos had, promises from Silvergate as well, just like Coinbase that Silvergate was not able to follow through with. So, not sure if they're going to be connected, but this article did come out less than 24 hours after the article regarding what we just discussed. So, anyways, moving on, U.S. senators, you've probably heard of Elizabeth Warren, or if you haven't, she's been involved in politics pretty heavily over the last 4 or 5 years, and obviously even longer. But as far as being in mainstream media, her name's been floating around for some time. That was the gal in the thumbnail on the left, if you were not sure. So, anyways, here they, along with Elizabeth Warren, were a handful of other senators. We'll mention their names here in a moment that essentially are asking for Binance, CZ, Changpeng Zhao, CZ's owner of Binance, founder of Binance, is being asked to provide financial statements, information on the company, user data. And that's probably not going to fly for CZ. If you know anything about CZ, he kind of stands behind everything he does for the most part, but they are claiming that Binance is a hotbed of illegal financial activity. Right. So, in my opinion, again, my opinion, I do think that crypto as a whole is always going to probably have a level of crypto activity, criminal activity. But we'll just kind of see what's to come with this. Essentially, Elizabeth Warren, Democrat out of Massachusetts, Chris Van Hollen, Democrat out of Maryland, and Roger Marshall, Republican out of Kansas, asked Binance, along with a handful of others, by the way, that aren't listed here, which I think is kind of interesting. Tokenist.com did not list the others, so very interesting. But essentially, they asked CZ to report on the information that I just mentioned. So, financial questions surrounding the company. It says here, quote unquote, and this comes from the group of bipartisan senators, as it says here at the bottom. But Binance and its related entities have purposely, evaded regulators, moved assets to criminals, and sometimes sanctioned evaders, allegedly, right? And hidden basic financial information from its customers and the public. All right. So we'll see kind of what's to come with this, but following the Silvergate news, not looking good for crypto as a whole, I would say right now. But again, if you are bullish on crypto, Bitcoin, any other coins out there that you maybe are fond of, you probably know what the long term looks like versus some of the FUD that makes you, maybe think a little bit more on the emotional side and buy and sell on the emotional side as well. So, again, do your own research and make sure that you are paying close attention to what's really happening from a broader perspective. So, last but not least, though, and we'll go ahead and end the video, is news around FTX, right? So, it says here as the headline, FTX has a massive $9.5 billion shortfall in the top crypto and cash needed to repay its customers. Okay, so essentially $694 million in assets here, it's saying, of the 2.2 billion that was recovered are easy to cash in. Okay, so 2.2 billion of 9.3 billion. right? So the amount difference there, they're reporting that it's still around 9.3 to 9.8 billion dollars in lost funds. Makes me wonder where the rest of them are, obviously, along with everybody else that's potentially affected. But anyways, I don't think that SBF or FTX is going to be able to come up with this money. I mean, how do you come up with that when the company has absolutely no money to their name? So anyways, very interesting information. Just new news on FTX and SBF. And that's all I've got for you. Appreciate you guys watching. Come for the crypto, stay for the unpaid info. My name is Nate Muze, hence the Muze News Crypto. Hope you guys are all having a good evening.